July the 14th, 2025. Guys, you're looking at the latest update from the Hurricane Center. This came out at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, which here in central Mississippi, it's 9:26, so it's been out 26 minutes. It's the first model that we've got as far as having multiple spaghetti models on the track of the storm. Now, there's different ones listed here. Two of the main ones that we watch is the CMC in the pale green and NavGem, or the Navy model, in this purple. Neither one are have posted a model yet. I just want to start out with saying that. But our storm's located here. It looks like it's going to cross somewhere in the north section of Florida. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 models, 5 if you count this one coming into Louisiana and coming back around into Mississippi around Vicksburg. All of these models show it coming into our state here in Mississippi. A couple of these are very close to our home. Now, we know, and I say this every year, that this model will change. You're going to have a pressure system change somewhere, higher low movement, and we'll have last-minute tracking. But it's so close to the shore that I think it's going to move very quickly once it gets across Florida. And when you see these storms move in, remember they're rotating counterclockwise on a low system. So it's like a saw blade that's running counterclockwise. When it hits a surface, it's going to roll in the direction against the turn. So you get a storm coming through here, and this outer band start to catch the friction of land. And I've seen it with Hurricane Michael. Remember, guys, it came in. I said it's going to turn right a little quicker than what they were saying. It did. I lost a 27-foot, very old sailboat, but we loved it. And that's what happens. Like, say you get this upper track here. This one is actually skirting near the Panama City, south of Panama City, into this area. But again, the closer it gets, the quicker it's going to catch the land in that friction between wind and the surface of the trees and everything else. And that's going to steer it right. But right now, it looks like Alabama, you're in pretty good shape as far as a initial strike. That is, except for the HWRF model right here. Shows it come in, scraping here, coming back down, moving back up, and coming in here around the Florida-Bama area, Pensacola, right in this area, Pensacola Beach, skirting across the Mobile Bay Inlet and hitting Mississippi and moving north. All of this is going to move up towards Memphis and Birmingham and places like that before it's said and done. Your widest model, the AVNO, has it going all the way into Louisiana here, getting almost into the, Interstate 10 that goes through here to Shreveport, and then cutting back into our state. These are not the 5 most reliable models. They have not updated yet, but at least we're getting an idea. Now, this is Invest 93L. So we're starting to get models. We're going to get the Hurricane Tracker Air Force out there, guys, and all of that. So the information now will start expanding very rapidly. I do want to note that there's extreme flooding up in the Northeast. There are a lot of streets a foot or two deep running down through there, and we talked about that in the video earlier. Also, Florida, it's not the Guadalupe River, it's the other one there that has the problems. But it was expected to have, by about this time tonight, 10 o'clock or so, a 17-foot rise from the rains that we saw earlier today. So that is happening. We talked about them canceling the search efforts there in Texas. But some of those rivers are really getting higher. It should go down quickly because some of the rain is subsiding. We're going to take a look at the satellite info. I wasn't sure I was going to come back in this late, but when I saw all of these new notices, I thought it would only be fair. And this is what we have now, a 40% chance of development over 7 days. It will be on land within a couple of days, so that's just how they extend it out. It used to be 2 days and 5 days. Last year they went to 2 days and 7 days. But east of the Florida Peninsula into the northern Gulf, AL 93, an area of low pressure located offshore the east coast of Florida, continues to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms primarily south of the center. Let me say this, guys, there has been a couple of pop-up tornadoes in the Florida area today. Tampa and down a little further south, so be very careful. And there's warnings out about what we talked about in the earlier video of these waterspouts. It says this system is forecast to move westward across the Florida Peninsula on Tuesday, that's tomorrow, Tuesday night, eventually moving into the northeastern Gulf by the middle of this week. Environmental conditions appear generally favorable for additional development if the system remains offshore, and a tropical depression could form as the system moves across the northeastern and north central Gulf by the middle to the latter part of this week. Again, it's not going to, tomorrow's Tuesday, it's going to be getting ready to come ashore by Tuesday or Tuesday night. And again, this is kind of a long-term forecast here, but if it's going to remain that close to the shore, unless something major happens in the high pressure, this thing will rapidly come ashore. Now, our weather systems are completely out of whack right now. Look at, again, the flooding up in the northeast that we talked about, and someone reminded me to take a look at that. And again, the streets are 1 to 2 feet deep in certain areas. Now, if you look at Florida, this rotation is off the east coast here, but the storms have pushed over into the Gulf. Check that out. So all of this is going to be moving to the west, crossing the system. But look up here, guys. This is very unusual to be this time of the year in this area. Look how strong some of these storms are here. We're still not getting the moisture we need into Arizona to knock out those forest fires. We need big tankers in there on a continuous loop right now, not just dropping the retardant, but put some moisture into the atmosphere with some water. You have reservoirs in that area. What have you got? Havasu, you got 2 or 3 reservoirs in the Colorado River. We talk about all the time during the droughts. But this is very unusual up here, this type of storms. I mentioned that earlier. Things are changing. So right now it's the time to wake up, be aware that they are, and take extra precautions against them. This is amazing. Now, if you notice here in the Seal Cortez, that system is kind of out in the middle of it, but it's trying to push a little more moisture to the north. And notice how it's drifting over into Arizona just a little more, maybe one more day of this, and we will see some relief there around the Grand Canyon. That's what we're hoping for. But guys, this is nothing to play with. Let's look a little bit closer right here. Now, you're going to see the radar sweep come through here as the sun sets. Check that out. We're going to let it loop a few times. Notice where the storms were earlier, then they started popping up here, but this group gathered very large right there. Look at that, and it's already over in open water. Could we be looking at kind of a multiplex of storms in this situation? You can clearly see the center of rotation here. So the way they're talking, this is going to catch up with the front-loaded storms. Started here, now they're moving offshore. Florida, you're getting somewhat of a break inland compared to what was happening. But now becomes very dangerous. But there are waterspout warnings and alerts through there. We'll take a look at the National Weather System. But this is some pretty wild-looking weather. Check. It's changing. That's all I can say. I've watched this, guys, I mentioned the first hurricane I remember in 1964. 4th grade, and I was 9 years old, so do the math on that. You can realize Methuselah and I probably partied together when we were we're both OG. But anyway, let's do this close up in the infrared for a moment. And one thing I've noticed about these storms, they expanded to the north very quickly during the heat of the day. Then, just like a hurricane, they recycle. They'll build up in pressure. They'll throw all that heat up in the upper atmosphere, and they'll die out just a little bit. And they're starting to reform right now, just a little further south. I'll notice that because everything's kind of moving south in this area. You get over towards Louisiana, Texas, this is moving to the north. But again, they're reforming now after this recycling out into the Gulf. That's telling me that all through the Panhandle, going through tonight, you guys pay very close attention to it, okay? You already had, you're pre-saturated. You see this storm here. But there's too much heat. There's too much energy, too much moisture. And again, the intertropical convergence zone has changed. It has moved further north. That's going to intensify the storms. Is that why we're seeing the storms tonight much further north than we usually see them? But guys, just keep an eye on this. You see where the energy's moving. It's going to scrape across the Panhandle. It's going to scrape across Mobile Bay, probably tonight. You still got several hours before daylight. You got it, let's see, looking at my clock, it's 9:41 p.m. It's going to start getting daylight around 5:30. So by that time, Mobile Bay, all of you guys be watching this area, okay? We're watching you. You do the same thing. It's a heads up. Be safe.